Lars and the David brothers make a reconnaissance trip to see if the old tattooist named Mong is up for a visit. Mong's been bedridden for 5 days, yet he's risen specially to greet his visitors. Lars has seen many subjects of his research die before they passed on their knowledge, so wisely he takes the attitude that there's no tomorrow. He appears to bask in the eerie limelight cast by one stark bulb on Simon's home movie camera, and by Lars Krutak's professional curiosity.
The person who gave tattoo a long time ago, was that the real expert tattoo artist? Was that a hereditary position, or could anybody do it?
It's a communal thing, man. Everybody is involved.
Anybody can do it.
Mong hasn't practiced his tattoo art for decades, but he seems eager to talk about it and relive the days when his tattoos acted as charmed amulets. Like Akibosai, Mong was an Iban ranger and on the receiving end of Japanese machine gun fire.
Machine gun.
Ask him if he thinks that...
Lars has heard that tattoos also play a role in the afterlife. Mong begins to speak of Mandai, the river that runs through Sebion, the land of the dead. Departed souls must venture up this treacherous river, hoping to reach the longhouses of their most heroic ancestors. But legend has it that this is a journey only the most heavily tattooed Iban can complete. If that's true, Mong must be making good time through Sebion, because incredibly, that night, the old man dies in his sleep.
The next day, Tom and I head for Mong's longhouse to join with Lars and the David brothers in paying our respects. Mong's death hits home hard. If I had doubts about submitting to the tattoo needles tomorrow, they're gone now. I'll suffer it proudly and in honor of Mong and all this wonderful tattoo tradition that is vanishing right in front of our eyes.
Too involved. So, 2 tattoos, hand tap tomorrow. Like, this could be like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, it's gonna take the whole day.
The whole day?
I bet. You know. Are you gonna use 2
I may sound calm, but truthfully, I'm a little anxious about those needles. After all, we're in a climate where a harmless scratch can quickly turn into a festering wound.
Yeah, I trust Eddie and Simon.
Yeah. So I gather you're making the sticks first, are you? For the bamboo, yeah.
As a master craftsman himself, Tom is eager to see how the old tools were made. This piece of bamboo will become the needle stick used to hand tap Vince's tattoos later today.
I believe he's making a shading machine right now. This would typically have about 14 needles in the end of it. I think for the outliners they use about 5, which is pretty close to what we use.
40 years have passed since tattoo implements were last crafted along the banks of the Skrong River. 40 years since Gentan last gathered soot on the inside of a pot lid to make the ink.
Not that I'm having second thoughts, but I'm beginning to wonder if I have a right to wear Iban tattoos. Then it dawns on me that these tattoos are becoming an integral part of my trip, my Bujalai up the Skrong. After only a few minutes, my shoulder is going numb, but not numb enough to dull the pain of the needles. I can tell it's going to be a long, long day.
So Vince, so how does it feel, man? Weird? Different?
Very different from a machine.
Eddie's mentor, Jentan, offers some technical advice during this first round of hand tapping. While Simon attends to the all-important job of stretching the skin. Stretching allows the needles to penetrate the skin and makes for much straighter lines.
And there's no question that the stretching actually helps quite a bit.
It does, man. But once you get into it, the rhythm becomes easy. And after a while, you can hear the sound from the tool and from the hitting. You forget about what's around you. You're just listening. The tapping, the sounds of the tapping and all that is very hypnotic.
Before long, we've got a sizable audience, and I realize that none of these young people have ever seen someone get a hand-tap tattoo before. I hope it's a sign that this neglected Iban tradition is capturing their imagination. The sun's gone down, and Jentan finally gets his chance to come out of retirement, the first time he's tattooed in decades. For Tom, this is the holy grail of tattoo research, observing an old master at work. Jentan doesn't appear to have lost his touch at all. It's sure and steady. Did you know that the word tattoo comes from the Tahitian word tatau and was thought to imitate the sound made by the tattooing instruments? The rhythmic tapping of the hand tools really is hypnotic. I'm starting to lose all track of time, and even my sense of pain.
Okay, Vince. It's over.
Eddie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dana? Yes. Simon? After 6.5 hours, I'm exhausted. I've always seen my tattoos as personal rites of passage, and each of my tattoos is a symbol which is deeply personally important to me, but I think none so important as the tattoos I got here today in this longhouse.
Just when Vince suspects that his adventure is winding down, the old patriarch, Aki Basai, is just getting fired up.
Aki is really proud that you have got your tattoos done the traditional way. And now, he wants you to be his adopted son. The tattoos are like his tattoos, the body is like his.
I would be honored to be your son and to be part of your family. Thank you. The scrong is a good way to stay cool until tomorrow's adoption ceremony, and a good chance to reflect on what my beautiful new tattoos actually mean.
The sides of these tattoos just got.
Well, I know this part is the flower.
Yeah.
And while Eddie was tattooing me, he said that the center design was based on the design that was found on the belly of a tadpole.
Well, I'd heard it with the fruit. Those eggplants.
Right.
Cut in half. You look at this cross-section view.
Yeah.
And I also heard that there were the sort of the wood chips off the shavings, you know.
Right.
I just can't see that being the belly of a tadpole.
A half-day hike to a tadpole pond will settle the argument. If the tadpole's belly resembles the spiral in the middle of my tattoos, then it looks like the frog also lies at the heart of the most common of all Iban tattoos. The frog is important in Iban mythology as the creator of men. And a frog tattooed on the throat protects Aki and Gentan from losing their heads in battle. For me, tracking down the tadpole has brought into focus why Tom and I wanted to make this trip so badly. It's rare in this day and age to actually make a new discovery, and this makes us feel, for the first time, like true tattoo hunters.
That's it. Oh, that's it. Look at that. There. You see that spiral pattern? That's exactly the same as the center of my tattoo.
Just like the tadpole morphing into a frog, I see my Iban tattoos as part of my transformation here on the scrom. From Vincent Hemingson to Umpong Anak Mingat. Aki's wearing the beret of his Iban Ranger Regiment. It reminds me just what a legend he is and how proud I am to be his son. Aki has no son of his own and only one other adopted Iban son. I'm the only white man in the family. It's a great honor and I feel a responsibility attached to it. I'm just not sure what it is exactly. What I do know is that seeing so many young men eager to wear a traditional tattoo, even if it's only from a felt pen, suggests that a tattoo revival among the Iban may be possible. From the moment that Aki and I met, I felt a connection between us. But I now understand that Aki also sees my adoption in more practical terms. It's a way to help the Longhouse by building alliances, an old Iban strategy. The shaman is calling upon the gods to recognize me as Umpong Anak Mingat after Aki's deceased grandfather. I am now Umpong, the son of Mingat, as Aki Basai is known to his friends.
How many you have to drink? 10 tua?
It must be obvious by now that I'm in way over my head, swept along in this wild adventure as surely as if I'd been carried away by the floodwaters of the Scrom. And what about this guy Gentan? Look at him dance. He's still as supple as a teenager.
And this day isn't over yet. Before the sun sets on Umpong Anak Mingat, he's going to find out that Aki Basai had a dream, predicting the arrival of a stranger who would become his son. This isn't the Vince Hemingson of old. This is Umpong Anak Mingat. And as soon as the dancing stops, he learns that his visit here has been predestined.
So what you're saying is both you and Aki, in your dreams, knew that I was coming.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So he wanted you to be his son because somehow or other, right, you would be the catalyst to start this revival again. You will be one of the cogs in the machine Right. You will play a part in helping us revive a dying culture.
That night, perhaps under the influence of too much rice wine, or simply exhausted from the heat and humidity, I have a vivid dream of my own. Stumbling in the jungle, I come upon Aki beside. There we are, naked except for our spears and tattoos, and all around us, frogs are croaking. To Aki, my dream means that a protector spirit has moved to my side. It's an omen from the gods that I am a worthy son, and a sign that I must now be presented to my namesake, whatever that means. How does an ancestor from the spirit world make himself known in Aki's back room?
Aki is saying, I call upon you to bring us peace, prosperity, and health. If you are the spirits of my ancestors, I'm telling you that I have adopted a son and want you to recognize him as my true son.
As Aki invokes the protection of the spirits on my behalf, I am filled with a sense of awe.
Before the tattoo hunters pack up, Lars submits to the tattoo needles. Just one, like Vince's, on his left shoulder. Tom is next. The hand-poke tattoo he received up the Rayong River in 1996 needs a little touching up. By now, there's a waiting list to get hands-on experience in this old technique. And for Eddie, there's nothing he'd rather be doing than supporting a renaissance of traditional tattooing.
3 years ago, I couldn't speak much Iban. I didn't know much about the traditional tattooing, how to do it properly. And now, it is in my mission, my bajalai, to discover all these things again, to stop all these things from disappearing, so that the next generation can benefit from it.
Eddie's commitment makes us hopeful that Iban tattoos have a chance of making a comeback. If for no other reason than that, we declare this trip a success.
So I'm telling him I'll be back next year. Next year.
Yeah,
Like Eddie, I feel as if I've embarked on a bajalai, my quest to visit other indigenous peoples around the world and to learn as much as I can about their tattoos and spread the word. The vanishing of these sacred marks from the long houses along the Scrong presents a haunting question that could affect us all. What happens to a people, here or anywhere, who have lost their sacred traditions, and with that loss have become invisible to their gods?